Good morning, well, it's another experimental repair video today. So I've got this chainsaw here. So this was given to me a few years ago. When it was given to me, it leaked fuel like anything, and I had to replace all the fuel lines. So since then it's been working fantastic, and it's cost me about £3 to have a running chainsaw, so that's fantastic. Problem is, recently the chain bar keeps falling off. So you've got this mechanism here, this is what holds it in, and I just assumed for some reason that this was undoing itself. Well, I've now looked recently and realised you only need to turn that much and it comes off. So the threads in there aren't working properly. So the first thing I did was I checked on this bar here, cleaned it all up, and I found this nut, which is an M8 nut, and that screws on there and goes nice and tight really quick. So I know the threads on there are good, so I'm guessing the nut that is in there is the problem. So I'm going to see if I can clean that up and dismantle it and get to the nut in there to either replace it or repair it. Now I know this comes apart because I recently took it all apart because I assumed it was muck getting into this section here and that was causing it to slip. I have used it since then, but I can't actually remember how I took it apart, so it's a case of clean it up and see if I can find the screws to take out. Because I remember before that some of the screws I took out but I didn't need to. There we go. I still can't get that off. Yes. Right, so this is a bit that's causing the problem, so let's see if I can get this apart a little further, and then I can go through what is wrong with it and what I'm going to do to fix it. They don't make this easy to come apart. It's almost as though they don't want you to fix this stuff anymore. There we go. Okay, so we're down to this part here, and this is the bit that's causing the problem. Now I am going to have a look to see if I can find a replacement part online, but this chainsaw is quite old, so they might not support it anymore. But I was hoping I could repair it myself, but they really haven't made it easy. So with this section here, you can see there's a hole going straight through the middle there. That is supposed to be threaded all the way through, and it's only threaded to about there. From there upwards, the thread's just stripped out of it. So I came up with various ideas of how I could repair it. Now I did hope that there was just a hexagonal nut in there that I could replace, but obviously not. I did think that I could just get rid of that, put this back on here and do a nut and a washer, but I can't do that because the bolt doesn't stick out far enough, so that doesn't work. So I do really need to have this part replaced because that recesses down into that hole. Problem is that's aluminium, so I can't weld it and tap it like my other thought was. So I'm not sure how to repair that. Let's go and find out if I can find a spare part for it. So I've double checked, and Ryobi no longer seem to do spares for this chainsaw. I found one company online that did say they did spares for this chainsaw, but trying to pinpoint the actual part I needed, I just couldn't find it on their website, so that sort of went out the window. Now the chainsaw itself, it's not worth much. Even a good condition running model is selling for about £50 online, so it's more of a case of I just want to try and repair it, because I'm thinking this is the only thing that's actually broken on it. The rest of it's getting worn out, but it still functions, so if I can repair this, then that's great. So basically I need to fit that cover onto there and have something that screws into there and holds it in place. And I've got one of these, which is an M8 hammer fixing, which I found in the drawer, and that happens to screw in there quite nicely. and that actually holds it in place, so that would function. Problem is you need a pair of grips to hold that, to put that in and out. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll weld something onto it. And I found this, which is a bolt from an old bed. So I have put the two bits together like that, so the thread goes through the middle, holds them together. I can weld all the way around there, undo the thread, and then I should have something similar to this. Now, depending on how enthusiastic I'm feeling, I can try and grind that down so it's flatter, and then if I'm feeling really enthusiastic, you'll notice on this one it's got this little ridge here. That is what holds this section into the plastic fitting there. I've got this old screwdriver adapter there that happens to fit over there quite nicely, so I can weld that in place, trim that down, and again I can get the ridge. So I think it's very ambitious for the skills I've got and the tools I've got, but we might as well give it a try because it's not going to cost me anything other than time. So let's move the car out of here so we don't set fire to it and give it a try. Well, that worked well in theory. Unfortunately, that was a nice deep penetrating weld, and it's welded the entire thing to the rod. Okay, I'll have to rethink this. So I decided to stick with the original plan because I thought, well, the main problem I've got is too much metal. I can always take metal away, so I carried on, welded it all together, welded the other thing on to bulk it out, and I've definitely got too much metal here. So I'm going to spend some time filing this and see if I can make it into anything usable. So it seems to have filed down okay. I've got a nice shoulder there, so that lines up nicely with that piece there. So that's a flat surface there. So what I now want to do is drill through the middle of there and remove the bolt and rethread it. So yeah, see how this goes. Okay, so that's the part that's failed, that's the part I've made. They're looking close, they are looking very close. Now obviously this section here is far too thick, So I'm thinking I'm going to have to do a lot of cutting down. So yeah, I'll give that a go and I'll get back to you when I'm done that. Okay, well, I think I've filed that down enough now. That's looking the right sort of shape, so I'm going to try putting it back together again. Let's just hope this works. So that's half a turn on there, and several turns to get it down to tight. So from that point of view, that bit is excellent. Doesn't fall out, so great. So let's try putting the ring back on. That seems to work. So this is a push in to release it, and when you let go it sort of comes up onto the teeth. I'm not sure if that's going to grab on the teeth all the time, but to be honest, you should be able to do that tight enough. That's not a problem. So now just to remember the rest of this. Now what screws was it? I know that was a long one. We've got 3 short ones and 2 medium ones, so that goes up that way, and I remember using the flathead screwdriver on those. Right, so that's the adjuster wheel, so that turns, which turns the gear in there, which turns the shaft there, which moves the pin here up and down. Obviously it's only a small adjustment, but that is moving. And that all still fits on. So the only thing to do now is to test it with the chain on, which I haven't got with me now, so I'll do that another day. Right, well, assuming that all works, I'm now thinking, what do I do with the rubbish? So obviously I've got this part. This is the part that I've taken off the chainsaw. Obviously it's broken. Now part of me goes, throw it away, it's fine, you've got the new one. Hopefully that'll be nice and strong and outlast the rest of the chainsaw. The problem is, what if that doesn't last as long as I want and breaks? Because obviously if I make a second one off of that one that I've just made, the inaccuracies build up. So if I want to remake that piece again, I really want the original. So I'm thinking I'm going to screw that to the wall, and that way in 5 years time I can go, what on earth is this random lump of metal screwed to the wall, and be really pleased when I remember that it's apart from the chainsaw, and the chainsaw's been working fine for the last 5 years. But yeah, if not, it's there, then I can reuse it as a pattern to make the part again. So yeah. Right, well, I'll see you again when I test this. Okay, well, it's the next day, chain bar's back on, that's nice and tight. I haven't checked the fuel levels or whether the chain's sharp, but this is literally a quick test. I'm going to cut one log because I'm not actually in today and the weather's not looking great either. So one cut and we'll see how it does. So that chain's as blunt as anything, can barely touching the wood, but the important thing is it's still on there, it's not falling off. So I've got a working chainsaw for a couple of hours of fiddling around in the garage, so I'm really pleased with that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to take this home and give it a good sharpen, and I shall see you later.